Well, I thank the gentlelady from New Jersey for yielding time during this special order, and I want to give time for us to get set up with our graphics. Mr. Speaker, our nation is on the cusp of correcting a long-standing injustice, an injustice that has been embedded into our national psyche and frankly, our laws for more than 200 years. It is an injustice that says LGBT Americans shouldn't receive the same rights as everyone else. It's an injustice that the law in many states still says it doesn't matter how committed LGBT relationships are or how much in love they are. It's an injustice that in the law that says LGBT Americans cannot and should not be able to get married. The law could not be more wrong, Mr. Speaker. Our Constitution says that no person shall be denied equal protection of the laws, and that should include LGBT Americans. And to say that it doesn't matter how committed same-sex relationships are is an insult to the thousands of same-sex relationships that have been going strong for 30, 40, even 50 years. Gender and sexual orientation should not matter when it comes to the right to marry. What should matter is what is in one's heart. Now the Supreme Court can correct this injustice next week, as it is set to hear oral arguments in a case that could make marriage equality the law of the land. Now, I've never been one to count my chickens before they hatch, but I believe that the Supreme Court will rule on the right side of history. Our nation has been moving toward marriage equality at a breakneck speed. 10 years ago, only one state had marriage equality. And as you can see here, things have changed as 36 states and the District of Columbia now have marriage equality. But as we prepare for the court's ruling, let us not forget that there are more battles to be fought. As it stands, in 28 states, someone can be fired because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. This puts individuals who live in certain states in a difficult position. And I just want to take a moment to point out, this is here a map of where those 28 states are in our country, employment discrimination in the United States. I want to tell you the story of Lonnie Billard of South Carolina, a high school teacher for more than a decade. Lonnie couldn't wait to marry his longtime partner when marriage equality came to South Carolina in late 2014. And like so many Americans do, he posted the news of his marriage on Facebook. But several days later, he received a call from his assistant principal, and he was fired from his job. Marriage equality is coming, Mr. Speaker, but what does it say about our nation when people cannot share the happiest day of their life for fear of losing their job? For Americans who live in states with marriage equality and legalized discrimination, we are telling them that they can have the same rights as everyone else, but it's best that they don't tell anyone about it. What we have is an incomplete patchwork map of rights for LGBT Americans. If you look at the marriage equality map, there are 36 states with marriage equality. But if you look at the employment discrimination map, LGBT Americans can be fired in 28 states simply for being who they are. That means that in 14 states, like Indiana, Alabama, and Pennsylvania, an LGBT American can get married to their partner, but then get fired because of it. That's not what our nation is about. Every American is granted a certain set of rights, and they should be able to exercise them as freely and as openly as they wish. Our nation is becoming a more perfect union. But until we recognize that LGBT Americans are entitled to all of the same rights and protections as anyone else, full legal equality for LGBT Americans will be incomplete. There will be a day when both of these maps are combined and show that LGBT Americans are receiving full and equal protection under the law. Until then, we fail to live up to our own Constitution. But even when we reach full legal equality, it may take years until we achieve equality in the hearts of all Americans. I know I will continue the fight for equality in the hearts of all Americans, and I know the gentlelady from New Jersey will fight as well. I thank her, and I yield back.